what's up everyone? I've been waiting and waiting to try and do the Thunderstruck video and all the myths and tips and tricks on how to get one. But I've yet to get one, but I did see one here, and this is actually on a land plot that I did sold to a player named Jaximus here on Enla. So I figured now is a good time as ever. This Thunderstruck Tree just happened about 57 minutes ago or so. Because when it does happen, it has a 2-day timer. So if you do not click on it and harvest it within 2 days, you ended up wasting your Thunderstruck Tree. So looking at his farm here, you may be thinking he probably planted a cedar tree. Well, I don't have a feeling he did over there, because I'm going to pull up a pine tree over here, and you'll notice that the area over here is just large enough for a large tree. The cedar trees, they're a smaller tree. So it appears that this was one of his pine trees, and he also had a pine tree over here as well. So that goes into the fact that the pine trees are supposed to have, based on the Korean and the Russians' data, a better chance at becoming a Thunderstruck tree. So this is all just assumed based on the the data from the Koreans and the Russians. It came out of Korea that the pine tree is the best one to use. So then, surprisingly, some other data has come out, and the next best tree to actually use appears to be this traveler's tree over here. And the reason this is very noteworthy is the traveler's tree is a smaller tree. So you can actually plant traveler's trees on your little farm, on the small scarecrow. So these guys right here, traveler's tree sampling. So you notice they're a lot smaller, and you can actually fit 4 in on your small farm. And this is actually the tree that I have had the luck with planting and getting Thunderstruck trees. I've gotten a total of 3 Thunderstruck trees now, 2 in alpha/beta, and then 1 here in the live server, and they have always been with these traveler's tree saplings. So I don't know if I've been lucky on those guys or what, but all my trees have been Thunderstruck with the traveler tree sampling. So approximately the best tree to plant is the pine tree. They have a long growth period, and that's supposed to factor in. But the fact is that you can actually get a Thunderstruck tree at any given time. This is one of the myths. The Thunderstruck tree can turn to a Thunderstruck tree at any given time. So right now we could be sitting here watching, and this guy could turn into a Thunderstruck tree. Completed trees, this pine tree over here again can also turn into Thunderstruck tree according to some data. This guy made a very long detailed story about how his neighbor was AFK and just left his trees there and didn't notice them or didn't care about them, never came back for them, kind of quit the game. And his tree ended up turning into a Thunderstruck tree, and so the neighbor, after a few days, was sitting over here watching the Thunderstruck tree count down to 0 seconds and just watch the Thunderstruck tree poof and disappear and vanish. So those are reports coming out. I can't personally confirm them because I've never actually been there physically when a Thunderstruck tree has happened. So this was the closest one I've ever been to. I wasn't recording, unfortunately. They do have some really, really cool animation. The clouds come above, and lightning comes down and strikes. The reports say if you are close to a tree when the lightning hits, it will one-shot you regardless of how much HP or gear you have. So that is definitely really cool. You can check that out. There are some Thunderstruck videos on YouTube that you can see. So again, the best chances are pine trees, and then followed by the traveler's trees. Those are what I've had some really, really good luck on. Other than that, it's really all RNG. You cannot get them with the trees that are gatherable. So like the olive tree over here, this has no chance, or if it does have a chance, it is like a 0.00001% chance of turning into a Thunderstruck tree. So there may be a small micro chance, whereas like the pine trees have like a 0.01% chance. We've seen tree farms of like 1,000 pine trees, and there's 1 Thunderstruck in all those trees. So in that whole farm of about like 1,000 pines, you're lucky to get 1. So that gives us a rough estimate of like a 0.01% chance of a Thunderstruck. Because if it was a 1% chance, then you'd see them every 100 batches of pine trees roughly. And, you know, we're seeing them roughly about 1 every 1,000 batches of pine trees. So that's why you'll see out in the open, people are mainly planting pine trees. You can see a lot of secret farms like that. Again, all of the fruit-bearing trees, pretty much count them out. There has been some reports that the cherry trees have turned into the Thunderstruck. So, I mean, there could be a small micro 0.0001% chance on those guys. But if you do want Thunderstruck, pine trees and then the Traveler's trees are going to be your best bets. If you only have access to a small farm, don't sweat. You can get them. I have got them on a small farm. You can get them out in the wild. So if you are just looking and exploring and looking for secret farms, you can find them out there. There is an interesting theory going out that you can't get these guys in a public farm, which that would kind of make sense. So if that's the case, that means you can't actually get them with the hornbeam samplings, because those can be planted in the public farm over here in Saul's Headlands. Again, this is all rumors and speculations. There's never going to be any concrete data on how to get a Thunderstruck tree because it is all random number generator. So the best results we have now has been from the 2 or 3 years that Korea and the Russian servers have pulled data and done, you know, test analysis, is that pine trees are the best. So you do want to plant the pine trees. Traveler trees have come out, and the data has been showing that it's like the second best tree. There's also a wild tree that you can find, and I'm not too familiar with it, but there's a wild tree that spawns out in the world that you can actually gather the seedlings from, and that supposedly has a very good chance of Thunderstruck. But there's no way to actually, you know, get a ton of seeds and plant a whole bunch of those guys. So that is kind of being left out here. So Travelers and pine trees, those are the trees that you want to plant. Those are the trees that have been, you know, confirmed as best knowledge to get Thunderstruck. And then the other myth is that location has an effect on it. From what I've read and what I've deducted, it sort of does have a bearing. All the regions down here have the same, you know, RNG chance, supposedly. So any region down here could give you a Thunderstruck, regardless of where it is, whether it's a PvP zone or not. That seems to be the consensus. Then, the next part to this, like, myth type thing is that, like, islands have a better chance. So you can see I have houses out here in the island. I've had houses out here in the islands on Alpha and Beta. I've been to Thunderstruck Island, which is like right here. This is the little tiny island north of Thunderstruck Island, and I have yet to see any Thunderstruck tree results out there. So I'm going towards the myth of that the islands are kind of just made up so people can sell them. Then there goes to the fact that Aurora has better chances for Thunderstruck. And this right here has come out very, very strong. And it seems to be a proven fact that up here you have a better chance at getting Thunderstruck trees. And so that's part of the reason why the land rush will be so crazy, is because, you know, it seems to be proven with the data that has been collected over the last few years that Aurora does have a better chance at getting Thunderstruck trees. So anywhere in this region here or up here in the Diamond Shores appears to have a better chance. Again, we do not know for fact. There will never be a, you know, a fact, okay, this is 100% solid that, you know, Aurora gives you Thunderstruck trees, because the only people that actually know this are the developers and the creators of the game, and that's not Tryon Worlds, that's XL Games. XL Games is the only one that knows the code, that knows exactly, you know, what the rates are, what the percentage points are. They're the ones that tweak everything. You know, Tryon Worlds has no idea about the code at all. You know, they were looking at the drop rates for like the Archeum shards and Archeum dust, and they had to actually open up thousands upon thousands of bags to kind of like make their own deduction and see what the drop rate really is. They don't know the code. They don't mess with the code at all. They are just the middleman here. So XL Games is the only one, and they're not going to be releasing the raw data and telling us exactly what, you know, what percentage points these are. And, you know, no game company really does release that kind of data. So this is all going to be based on collaborative work through other players and, you know, kind of like word of mouth. And that's why you're going to see a lot of misinformation out everywhere, because everyone has a theory, everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a mouth. They can talk. They can spew out crap, and that's what happens a lot of times. So, based on my results, the data has proven pretty solidly that travelers' trees are very, very effective at getting thunderstruck. I had never personally have had a pine tree go thunderstruck. I have been planting. I have been trying. I've been trying out in the islands. No luck out there. Travelers' trees have produced me thunderstrucks personally. Like I said, I've gotten 3. I've never planted up here on Aurora, but the data has been showing that this has a better chance to proc thunderstruck trees. But again, everything is RNG, so we need thousands upon thousands, hundreds upon thousands of data to actually put a collaborative work. And it's just going to be impossible to really have a pinpoint, this is where you do it, this is how you do it. There is no spot like this specific spot right here won't proc thunderstruck trees always. Even though it may happen where you get 2 thunderstruck trees in this specific spot, I really, really doubt that this specific spot is a lucky, lucky spot. But some people swear by that. Some people swear that, like, this specific spot on their farm is a lucky spot. If you know anything about statistics and probability, most likely not going to happen. But if you do have lightning strike twice or 3 times in the exact same spot, there may be something to that. We don't know. I mean, again, when you're looking at chances that are, less than 1%, the variance is huge. So, again, post your thunderstruck trees, theories, and possibilities down below. But just remember, everyone has a theory, everyone has an opinion on this. Going on the raw data, what I do is pine trees and traveler's trees. Those are the best trees to plant, and then go up to Aurora.